Hey friends, so we need to talk about one of the things that we need to accomplish in third grade this year is drawing a scale, a picture graph. I'm going to just read this standard. This is a standard that tells the teachers what it is that students must be able to do to move on to fourth grade. And this is something I feel like I haven't worked on near as much as I should have. So I'm just going to start to make this a bit of a priority to make sure that you have the skills you need by the end of this year. So I'm just going to read this and highlight as I go. Draw a scaled, I don't like that. I'm going to just try this again. Okay, so the student must be able to, are we ready? Draw a scaled picture graph and a scaled bar graph to represent a data set with several categories within cultural context, including those of Montana American Indians. Solve 1 and 2 step how many more and how many less problems using information presented in the scaled bar graphs. For example, draw a bar graph in which which each square in the bar graph might represent 5 pets. Okay, so that seems a little bit complicated, but we're going to go on here. It's not that difficult, really. Just as in fancy teacher terms. Okay, so we're just going to practice using a pictograph, and we need to get so good at this that you can start to create your own pictographs. So, looking at this pictograph, it's got lots of information on it. It's kind of like looking at a map. We've got the key down here. We have the pictures and we have a table. So the directions want us to use the data in the table, here's our table, to complete the pictograph, okay? So the title of this pictograph is Number of Students at Elm Street School. So our table is done with this. In kindergarten, there are 35 students. First grade, 40. Second grade, there's 25 students. In third grade, 35 students. Fourth grade, 30 students. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to complete the pictograph. All right, so I don't really want to do that anymore. Looking here, it tells me that if each smiley face equals 10 students, kindergarten has 35 students. So if I put one smiley face, that equals 10 students, plus 10 more students, so 10 plus 10 equals 20, plus another 10 students, which equals 30. And I know that half of 10 equals 5. So if I put half of a smiley face here, that tells me there are 5 students. So when I add all of these pictures up, I know that it shows I have 35 students in kindergarten. So now I have to do the same thing with first grade. Okay, so I'm going to add one smiley face, which looks like a red blob. Hold on, I'm going to erase this. Okay. If I add one smiley face, that tells me I have 10 students. So each one of those is 10 students. If I put another smiley face, I have 10 more students. 10 plus 10 equals 20. If I add another smiley face, that tells me I have 10, 20, 30 students. and I need to show 40, so I'm just going to add one more smiley face, and 4 smiley faces would represent 40 students. Now I'm going to go to second grade. Second grade has 25 students. I'm going to add one smiley face for 10 students. If I show another 10 students, now I have 10, 20, but I don't need another whole group of 10. I only need 5 more students. So I'm going to just put half of a smiley face to show half of 10 students, which would be 5. I'm going to add up all of my students. I have 10 plus 10, which is 20, plus 5 more students, which is 25. Do the same with third grade. I have 10, 20, 30, and I only need 5 more. So I'm going to put half of a smiley face. So now I have 10 plus 10, which is 20, plus 10, which is 30, plus 5 more. That gives me 35 students. In fourth grade, I show 30 students. 10, 20, 30. Okay, so now I have used the data in the table. This is my table to complete the pictograph. This is a graph that uses pictures to show the amount of students in this case. Let's go to number 2. How many pictograph how are the pictograph and the tables alike? How are these two things alike? Well, they both, this is hard to do. Give information I'm just going to abbreviate to info about a number. I abbreviate NO means number of students. This is messy. Yours will be neat, right? Right. Whatever. Let's look at number 3. How are the pictograph and the table different? Well, let's look at that. How are they different? The table shows us 2 columns. Well, the first one shows which grade, and the second shows the number of students in each grade. The pictograph also has 2 columns. The first one shows which grade level, and the second one shows the number of students. So that's something that they are alike, that they have that's alike. Something that they have that's different is the way in which the number of students are represented. In the table, we represent the number of students using a numeral or number. In the pictograph, we demonstrate the number of students using a picture, and the key tells us how to indicate each student. It would take a long time to draw 35 smiley faces, and that wouldn't be a very efficient way for us to demonstrate that. So we have to use the key to show us the number of students. What is the purpose of the pictograph's key? I kind of just talked about that. The pictograph's key tells us for each smiley face that you see, that represents this amount of students. How would you find the total number of students at Elm Street School? If I need to know the total number of students at the school, I need to add them all together. Okay? What is the total number of students at Elm Street School? Show your work in the space below. All right, well, I'm just going to do this here. 5 plus 0 plus 5 plus 5, that's 15, which means 15 ones, and I know 15 ones is the same as one group of 10 and 5 ones. I put my group of 10 in the tens column. Now I'm going to add this. 1 plus 3 is 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 3 is 13 plus 3 more is 16. 16 tens. All right, so this tells me I have 165 students at Elm Street School. I will have you complete your own pictograph. Please be sure to use this information.